There is a piece of coastline in China that used to be nothing but wet mud. No farms, no houses, no roads, just soft, useless land that flooded every single day. But right now, on that same useless land, engineers just turned on something the world has never seen before. A plant that grabs sunlight, turns it into electricity, and then turns that electricity into a fuel that can be stored for months without losing power. Not hours, not days, months. And this isn't some small test lab. It is being called one of the biggest solar and hydrogen storage plants on the entire planet. Here is the part that sounds impossible. This plant does not just make clean power. It stores huge amounts of it in a form you can put in a tank, load onto a truck, and ship somewhere else entirely. Something batteries have never been able to do at this scale. If you are enjoying learning about wild new tech like this, hit the like button. It really helps since these videos take a lot of research to put together. And go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Because what you are about to see is not just one machine. It is 3 completely different technologies, wired together in a way nobody has really pulled off before, sitting on land that everybody thought was worthless. And by the end of this video, you will understand exactly how a stretch of flooded mud turned into one of the most advanced energy sites on Earth. So how did it happen? Let's start from the very beginning. The land nobody wanted. To understand why this project is such a big deal, you first have to picture the land it was built on. Along the eastern coast of China, there are areas where the sea rushes in and out every single day. At low tide, the water pulls back and leaves behind flat, gray mud for miles in every direction. It is too soft to build heavy buildings on. It is too salty and too wet to grow crops. For hundreds of years, that land just sat there, empty, ignored. Nobody wanted it, and nobody thought there was anything useful you could do with it. Fishermen sometimes walked out onto the flats when the tide was low, but even they could not stay long before the water came rushing back in. Local maps often left this kind of land blank, as if it did not count as real ground at all. It was the kind of place people passed by without a second glance, because there was nothing there worth looking at. But here is something interesting. That same flat, open, sunny land turned out to be perfect for something nobody had really thought of yet. Solar panels do not need solid ground to grow food. They do not need dry soil or deep foundations. They just need space and sunlight. And this stretch of coastline had both of those things in huge amounts. So instead of leaving the mudflats empty forever, engineers looked at this useless patch of land and saw an opportunity that would eventually turn it into a global energy story that people are still talking about today. This is where the transformation actually begins, and it sets up everything else that follows. Because once you understand what this land could offer, you start to see exactly how engineers turned ordinary sunlight into something that could be stored, shipped, and used far beyond the coastline itself. Let's look at how that first step actually worked. Turning sunlight into muscle. The first piece of this whole system is simple to understand. It is a massive solar farm, built right on top of that reclaimed mudflat that used to flood twice a day. We are talking about 400 megawatts of solar panels, spread out across land that not too long ago was considered good for absolutely nothing. Just this one piece, on its own, produces an enormous amount of power, around 468 million kilowatt hours of electricity every single year. To put that into a number you can actually picture, that is enough electricity to cover the basic yearly needs of about 200,000 homes. And because none of this power comes from burning coal or gas, it also cuts more than 300,000 tons of carbon pollution every single year, just from this one section of the project. Building solar panels on land like this also solved a second problem without anyone even planning for it. Normally, huge solar farms need huge amounts of land, and that often means clearing forests or taking over farmland that could have grown food instead. Here, none of that trade-off existed.